Professor Subramaniam, first of all, at the outset, let me thank you for joining us on the 15th anniversary of ET Now. I remember most of your speeches and interactions here on our platform on various occasions, not only on the channel, but many programs which you've been part of. You've always guided us and contributed in the discourse here. So thanks very much. We really appreciate your association with ET Now.
Thank you very much, and heartiest congratulations to ET Now, all the employees, all the stakeholders, and the viewers for completing 15 years. It's a very good journey.
Professor Subramaniam, growth is the magnet for capital. We have seen, at least here on ET Now, we keep interacting with some of the top CEOs, not only domestically but globally too, who show their intention to invest in India because of the policy environment. How do you see the capital requirements? And from the vantage point you are at, do you also come across a lot of top global CEOs and even heads of state who are keen to divert their big pools of capital to India for the really long term? I'm talking about not the FPI flows which are more short term in nature, but FDI flows which are decadal and which take calls on a 10, 20, 30, 40-year view.
So yes, two questions that you've asked, Ajay. First, the requirement of investment. I think, in my earlier response, I was already hinting to the fact that investment is one of the key drivers for growth. If we look at the investment to GDP ratio, it is now again about 32%. My sense is, and in the estimations that I've done, India should be looking at closer to 40% investment to GDP ratio in order to get 8% growth with the kind of productivity improvements that are happening, the reforms. And this investment could be both domestic investment and foreign investment. Foreign investment does help in technology transfer and in enhancing the productivity in the economy, and therefore FDI in particular. When I speak about the enhancement in productivity through foreign investment, it's primarily FDI, not FPI as much. So it is important to keep the ease of doing business in such a way that more FDI keeps coming in. We have to continue focusing on reforms. The last 10 years have been a good period for structural reforms. I would emphasize that one of the key areas that India needs to work on is factor markets, what we economists call factors of production, markets for factors of production, be it land, labor, capital, power, logistics, economies of scale, and these are 6 factors of production that are very important. I think our viewers have to understand, the policymakers also have to understand, while we reformed the product markets in 1991, we have not reformed the factor markets as much. There's been, good attempts, and there's been some progress in the last 10 years, but I think more work needs to be done on this front. This will really help in bringing FDI, especially in the manufacturing sector, which is something that we need significantly for job creation. Now, to your second part of the question, how global investors view India from the vantage point I occupy, and I get the opportunity to meet a lot of global investors because I end up going and speaking on many of these investor meets. The opportunity that investors now see in India is phenomenal because India can generate growth of 7% plus, and with some ambition and reforms, 8% growth as well. And in a global economy which is struggling to grow at even 2% per annum, 7% growth on average actually for an economy as large as India is, I think, something that provides significant opportunity for investors.
Right. How are you analyzing, the capital expenditure cycle which is undergoing right now in India, the way it has moved in the last few years, particularly our specific thrust on manufacturing? I want to also understand that where do you see it trending from here on?
So one of the things that I've come to understand, whether it's market participants or economists, we typically focus a lot on linear trends. But I think economies typically are not very subject to linear trends. So we have to keep in mind some non-linearities that would come in. That said, though, I think overall, if we look at the manufacturing sector, the Make in India is showing good signs. If you look at the factors of production,
So thank you so much for really coming out for our celebration and being a part. But let me just ask you first, Sridhar, here in this event, we are trying to get the roadmap for 2030, trying to find a vision. So as per you, where do you see India at 2030, if I may ask you?
From the market standpoint, if you just extrapolate, we should easily more than double. In the next 5-6 years. So that would roughly give you about 14-15% compounded return. So I have no debate that will surely happen. And from an economy standpoint also, we are doing well. We'll be one of the fastest growing economies in the next 6-7 years.
Well, certainly. And Mr. Kedia, what is your view on the markets? You have been ever bullish on the markets, we know that. But what are the big themes that you are looking forward to? Because this is the event that we are having after the new government that has been formed. So the kind of themes that are emerging out to the market, is there anything new theme that you are looking forward to?
I don't know. I'm still following the old themes of infrastructure and all these things, manufacturing and all. But one thing which I am a bit about all these companies like AMCs and all, and like Broking House and all, what 20,000 crore you are getting in 1 month now. I think maybe in 5 years' time you will get maybe 20,000 rupees, if not daily, at least weekly, minimum. Yeah.
All right, so our experts are ever been bullish on the market. But Sridhar, we have the RBI governor also coming out with us, and you have been watching out the growth that we are seeing in the economy. But if I may ask you, there anything in particular that you will be looking out for in RBI governor's speech right now, or anything that you want more clarity on at this point in time, or you just feel that the Indian markets are doing best?
No, I think the biggest data which affects the market is inflation. And we know that the inflation has been very sticky. Our own house view, the inflation doesn't go, barring July and August, which is a high base number. Otherwise, inflation will remain above 4%. So we want clarity on how the RBI governor looks at it, because almost 50% is food. And really can't be controlled by monetary policy. So is there any change in stance because of the inflation? Because the core inflation has come down. So I would look at, I've come here just to get a sense of what RBI governor has to say on the economy and on inflation and how the interest rates will play out. Because that makes a big difference from a macro standpoint and on the markets.
Yes, and lastly, Mr. Kedia, because you have a big fan following from the retail investors, we all know that they are fan of your one-liners as well, some of your songs, but the kind of participation that the retail investors are having right now, is that a worrisome right now? Because in the past we have seen all of you coming along and talking about that you see the froth in the markets, and this is a little concerning. But at this point, when we are seeing the Nifty as well as Bank Nifty very near to the record highs, do you feel that there is fraud and the retail investors need to be a little cautious?
Of course, I do feel so, but this I was feeling 6 months back also, let me tell you. And today also I am feeling the same thing, that there is a froth in this market. There is a froth in SME, there is a froth in IPO, and of course many stocks. The retailer investors, they are actually, as you say, they are innocent people, okay? So they should be careful.
Any one line that you want to leave us with?
सोच कर समझ कर इन्वेस्ट कर, रूमर पे टिप पे ना टाइम वेस्ट कर, नॉलेज और पेशेंस का बिजनेस है ये, अनुभव से सीख और बेस्ट कर.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please enjoy the event and please be a part of our big celebration that we are happening today. Thank you.
On IndiGo's international expansion plans. Indeed, that's one of the pillars of our strategy. And as we go forward, we continue to build on that. And India, I think, for a long time had a relatively low share when it comes to the share of Indian carriers on the international landscape. And we feel this is really a good moment for India and IndiGo to start grabbing some of that share out there.
All right, how very kind of you to, shower those compliments on us. But I just want to talk a little bit more as well about the progress that has been made by IndiGo, because you've been leasing aircraft, you've ordered larger aircraft quite recently, in fact, and that really shows the intent of really going big when it comes to the long-haul routes. But just wanted to understand, are you looking at more direct flights to the West? Are you looking at really focusing on these long-haul routes now as a strategy?
Well, absolutely. IndiGo has built up in the last almost 18 years. So I think we're about the same age. So IndiGo has really built up in the past 18 years a very impressive position in the Indian market itself, whereby today we serve 88 domestic destinations and a little over 400 different routes. If you look at international, though, we do 33 destinations today, and they're pretty much in the region. And some of the regional, and I would say beyond regional expansions, which we recently did, starting flights into Africa, starting flights into Indonesia, and starting flights into Central Asia, have been extremely encouraging. So we've seen high loads actually on all of these new destinations and routes. And clearly the Indian consumers and the Indian travelers are taking off for a much more international travel orientation than probably we have ever seen before. And clearly our recent order of wide bodies will further expand that range. That's only 27. Prior to that, we have the Airbus XLR coming in, and that will bring us really into the southern parts of Europe and the further into Asia as well. And with that, we're very confident that this will allow the Indian consumers to fly directly to many destinations indeed.
Right, Peter, Indigo has changed in these last 15 years from being a single service, single fleet type airline. It will now be having multiple fleet types and dual class services in the near future. We also understand that, the normal cost of growth for an airline, but should one be concerned as in India, we have seen multiple airlines fail in the past who have adopted this strategy? Are you worried about that?
No, maybe I'll make a little comparison there. When your esteemed company started to operate 15 years ago, look how India has changed in these 15 years. Look how India has changed in the last 5 to 10 years, really. So what has been the foundation of the success of Indigo will continue to be the very core and the very basis of what we do.
And well, it is 15 years of ET now that we are celebrating on our channel. In fact, we will keep getting you live updates from the event that is taking place at Taj Lands End today, where we are expecting the RBI governor also to come and address the crowd. But listening to some of the top voices then, Sanjeev Puri, KV Kamath and Anish Shah wishing ET now the very best.
Congratulating ET now for the 15th anniversary, and congratulations Nikunj and your entire team. I think on the last 15 years, all of you have done an amazing job, and your channel has been a very useful source of insights and information for the business community. And I wish you all the best for the future. I'm sure the years ahead, the decades ahead are going to be even more productive and purposeful. Best wishes and good luck.
Let me congratulate and compliment you and the team at ET Now for all that you have done as we have grown through these 15 years.
Congratulating ET Now. This is just fantastic to see the progress. It's a great channel, one of my favorite channels, and congratulations again on the 15th anniversary.
Congratulations to ET Now. All the employees, all the stakeholders, and the viewers for completing 15 years. It's a very good journey.
Today is about you, really. So again, congratulations. And ET Now has done really a great job of delivering compelling and informative news and opinions on Indian business landscape.
I hope you have 15 more great years to come.
Wish you all a very happy 15th anniversary to the entire team of ET Now.
I want to congratulate ET for your 15 years. For the record, ET has been there covering every single day, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the change of administration. Congratulations on a very meaningful anniversary, and best of luck.
Yeah, our RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das, who's just entered the venue. 15 years to ET Now is what we are celebrating, and the event is taking place at the Taj Lands End, where the RBI governor is all set to address the crowd. In fact, everyone is looking at what RBI governor has to say. In fact, a lot of market voices also gave us their opinion on what they can expect. They're looking at the growth for India, and also the inflation worry that has been worrying the markets, and the roadmap ahead for that is something that is that people are watching out for in the commentary from the RBI governor, who will shortly address the audience from now. On your screens, visuals from Taj Lands and 15 years of ET now, and we're getting you live action from there. We have just seen Shaktikanta Das, the RBI governor, enter there with our editor-in-chief Nikunj Dalmia, and he is about to enter the venue, and he is going to talk about, he's going to address the crowd very soon. Market veterans present there who are waiting to hear him speak about the growth roadmap ahead, his view of the markets, and of course his address on the inflation worry is what people are watching out for. Shaktikanta Das there entering the venue, and very shortly he will be addressing the crowd present there. All right, at the venue is present my colleague Shrishti Sharma joining us with Umang Vora. Shrishti, over to you. Tell us what's happening on ground.
This particular event, and thank you so much for joining us in our celebration of 15th anniversary, and we have been seeing you throughout the years. So with ET now, the journey of Cipla and the Indian pharma sector has evolved. So one question that we are asking everyone is that 2030, the vision for Indian pharma space, where do you see that headed? Because as we know, Indian pharma has done phenomenally well, but going ahead, what's the vision?
I think the biggest vision for India would be to launch as many products as we can, all developed and manufactured in our country. So I'd like to see our sector actually not being called a generic sector, but a sector that innovates and a sector that takes our innovation to the rest of the world. So we would be innovators. We'd have several companies that are innovators, all with cutting-edge technology and molecules that are patented.
That's certainly Umang, but when we talk about the pharma sector, then there are so many breakthroughs that are happening. People are shifting and getting interest into the biosimilar space. There's a diabetic drug which is actually useful in the weight loss. So keeping India's positioning, where do you see that India could play the bigger role in any such big theme that you are tracking at this point?
So definitely in areas where I would think innovation is required in terms of cost, supply chain. But I also think areas where drugs which cure diseases this side of the world are really important. For example, the Western world is not working as much on antimicrobial research. It's not working on drugs of choice that are probably needed for our therapies here in India. And I think that is where companies like ours and companies in the pharmaceutical industry in India will make a big impact.
All right, certainly, Umang, looking forward to that. We are getting so many people, so we will try to catch you once again to know more about the company. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, that was Shrishti speaking on Cipla and the Indian pharma space, where they see the growth in the pharma space and the fact that they're looking to manufacturing in India, make in India, manufacture more products and grow the Make in India momentum. And that is what is being penciled in for the pharma space that has over the years done well as far as the Indian pharma space is concerned. And on your screens is our managing editor Nikunj Dalmia speaking to RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das, who's present at the venue of the Indian, our 15th anniversary for ET Now, over ET Now Leadership Dialogues, which is about to take place. We are taking a mood check of the mega event, and we can see Shaktikanta Das in conversation with Nikunj Dalmia, and shortly he is going to be addressing the audience there very soon, addressing on India's growth roadmap ahead, the inflation projection, and of course a lot more coming up.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.